it should be good now.
All right, welcome everybody to our Las Vegas Lights event. I'm Caroline Cohen, and I'm here with my co-host Constance and our guest speaker Francisco. So I'm going to introduce our organization, UNLVolunteers. Out of the 3 offices among SLL, which stands for Service Learning and Leadership, UNLVolunteers is focused on being community-based. It includes programs and volunteering events in the Las Vegas community regarding civic engagement, health and wellness, housing and food insecurity, youth and education, and environment. And we are the Environmental Council. We encourage you guys to follow us on Instagram. And there's also a way to earn hours or earn volunteer hours, help build community, and learn something new. And a quick land acknowledgement. We gathered today on the occupied, unceded territory of the Southern Paiute people. We have recognized the unique and enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples and their traditional territories. And we encourage everyone in this space to engage in continued learning and action about the Indigenous peoples who have been living and working on this land from time immemorial, and about the historical and present realities of settler colonialism. We therefore bring a call to action that UNLV move forward with creating a Southern Paiute language course, as well as changing our racist mascot. And we have kind of removed Hey Reb, so we're on the way to doing that. It's kind of cool. So our agenda for today, I'm going to introduce an icebreaker, the definition of light pollution, and a little map. We're going to have our guest Francisco speak. He is with us from Las Vegas Astronomical Society. And then we'll have Constance close us out with effects of light pollution, recent research, and the Clear Skies Act. And we'll open the floor to any questions, comments, or discussions. And that'll be all for today. So with a quick icebreaker, I just wanted to know if anyone, where have you gone to get away from light pollution? If you have any spots in Las Vegas that you have in mind, or a favorite spot out of state that you have in mind, I'd just love to hear what you like to do to see the night sky. I personally really love Grand Canyon. I went a couple summers ago, and that was probably the first time I really saw how detailed the Milky Way galaxy is when there's no light pollution. It was really beautiful. But yeah, if anyone else has a place in mind, I'd love to hear it.
I'll go ahead. My name's Eric Ochoa. My pronouns are he, him, his. And where have I gone to get away from light pollution? I've gone to, I went to Zion about last December, actually. And it was, we were up in a cabin, and it was actually really lovely. I think I looked up and I was just in awe because I've never actually seen that. And it's one thing to just see it in picture, but it's a whole other thing to actually see it in person. So that was really cool.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Eric.
I love to go to Mount Charleston or Death Valley. Those are far away enough to you enjoy darkness. So those will be the closest to Vegas. But where I was amazed was in Yellowstone. The sky there is breathtaking. I never seen nothing better so far in my life. So that is an amazing place to go.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list to go to Yellowstone. Anyone else have a place in mind?
Hi, my name is Oh, go for it.
Okay, so my name is Constance Serm. I'm the other co-host for today. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I think the most recent time that I was able to see like the Milky Way, kind of away from like the light pollution, not really, but if you go from Las Vegas to California, Personally, I like to have other people drive, and I like to go like in the middle of the night, to beat traffic. But in addition to that, if you just look up, you'll see a whole lot of stars and things you probably wouldn't in Las Vegas. And yeah.
Yeah, I love that drive. It's really pretty.
Yeah, I can second that. I was gonna say, yeah, one time I was like driving from California back to Vegas and it was during the night and I was able to see a lot. And I would always compare it to, because I usually go to Red Rock during the night just to see the stars and it was nothing compared to Red Rock. I was able to see like way more.
Yeah, I feel like Red Rock is like more and more houses are being built closer to Red Rock, so the light pollution is impacting the area. So you got to get farther away, which is
Yep,
kind of
definitely.
annoying. Right. Well, thank you all for sharing. I love hearing your stories. Let's continue.
Oh, why is it not moving? Oh, there we go.
Can you go back one?
Yes. Sorry, got stuck on me. Is it this one?
Yes. So, all right, we're gonna start off with I'll let you guys know a little bit about light pollution and where it is and what it is. So, light pollution can be defined as excessive artificial light. It is usually caused by a collective amount of outdoor light across a large scope of land in major cities and like dense urban populations. So, I have a picture of Las Vegas here. You can see like all the light visible is artificial light, and it's like in a small or like a I don't know, a dense urban population. So, a little history about light pollution. About around once incandescent light fixtures were developed and commercialized in the late 19th century, the uses of electricity became more abundant with the modern world. This allowed streets, buildings, and businesses to stay open and active at night, which is great and super cool, but it does have an underlying effect on and consequences for the environment, the ecosystem, and human behavior. So we'll dive into that later on. So here is a little video. You can press play. So this is like all 360. Oh, you don't have to start over.
Oh, wait, at 102? Sorry.
Yeah, if you want to go back and then start the page over.
I think it was at 102.
Yes. It was just going to be like a short 10 seconds.
Okay, so play it.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is just a 360 view of the Earth. And notice how there's like patches of bright light, patches of darkness. Even though the patches of darkness, like we know that people do live there. So in my next slide, I'll talk about the difference between urban and rural communities. So an urban community is a human settlement with a high population density and infrastructure of built environment, and rural communities are a geographic area that is located outside of towns and cities. So in urban cities, you really don't have a great view of the night sky because of light pollution versus rural areas that don't have a lot of street lamps. They don't have a lot of people in the area. So you're able to see how vivid the night sky is. We can also see that there's levels of light pollution and levels of darkness. So this is the Bortle Dark Sky Scale. The Bortle Dark Sky Scale is a 9-level numeric scale that measures the night skies and stars brightness of a particular location with the naked eye and stellar limiting magnitude. So level 1 is excellent dark sky, and level 2, it just gets a little more less vivid, I guess, as the levels go up. So level 2, we have a dark sky. Level 3 is like a rural sky. Level 4 is a suburban rural transition. Level 5 is suburban sky. Level 6 is a bright suburban sky. Level 7 is a city suburban transition, and a level 8 or 9 is a city or an inner city sky. So notice that the bigger the city, the more population or like more infrastructure, the more light pollution there is and the less night sky you're able to see. So yeah, that's just a little bit about light pollution, and I'll hand it over to our guest speaker to talk a little bit more about it.
Working on it. It looks clear?
Yes.
Perfect. So, my name is Francisco Silva. I am the Vice President for Las Vegas Astronomical Society for the program Outreach. As an astronomer fascinated with the sky, the light pollution is our major problem. I will go all the way to the times where we have gas light before even electric. It's true that electricity has put light pollution in asteroids, but any light contamination affect your view of the night sky, from fire in the camping ground to flashlights. Humans' eye need at least 15 minutes to adapt to darkness, so to be able to enjoy the night vision. So keeping that in mind, we are talking about anything that gives you light during nighttime, it will be your enemy. But we need society, so we need to try to find that balance between we need lights in important places and that light should be managed smart, and other lights are totally necessary and we not should even to have it. No? So having that in mind, I am not against light at night, just light that is not necessary. Okay. So for example, why we should care, no? Most of the light pollution comes from bad installations, bad pointing lights. I go to show down the road what I am meaning with that. But that is the greatest problem with light pollution. Or having street lights that have no a watch or chronometer to control when they turn on or when they turn off, stuff like that. Light pollution, wasting millions of dollars from taxpayers, from private corporations or private citizens. We are spending billions on that, not only in the United States, but across the world. So it's crazy to see how we even turn on football stadiums or baseball stadiums when no one is playing there. And you can see that during the pandemic, then a lot of stadiums was turning on even though one was there. So you go, wait, who is paying for that now? So if you want to go by the point of view of money, we are losing billions of dollars every year in something that is not even needed, and no one is there even to enjoy. No. Another one is how much natural resources we are spending to create these lights. It's not only you are talking about petrol, gas, or um, coal, or nuclear energy, or solar energy. We are talking about we are using these resources just for because we want it, no because nothing important is going on there. So we are losing money, we are losing natural resources, and nothing, no? At the same time, polluting air for generating electricity. No matter how green that electricity is generated, some contamination has been done. If you are talking about solar panels, those solar panels take some contamination to be built. Windmills need contamination to be built. We are transporting windmills in gas trucks. Okay, so just to keep that in mind, we keep doing contamination. No, not because it's called green energy, it's out of the blue, no contamination. No, contamination is still there. It's less harmful, yes, but it's still there. So we are really doing, and the point of view of an engineer or the point of view of logic, we are doing a terrible job when it comes to energy, losing for just illuminating places that are totally not needed. And on top of that, we are harming the real life of animals. Animals are thinking that is the sunrise when it's our city lights, or animals keep flying, like birds keep flying. Insects is still working hard because they no can change from night to daytime. And then we have humans. So at least let's thinking the more egoistic part. We humans are suffering from light pollution. We are using too much strong lights in all our life. So not only during nighttime, we use too much strong light bulbs in our homes, in our workplaces, in our casinos, for example, just to give us the sensation of day, and then we are happy and we know do nothing. But that in the long run is giving us depression, is giving us anxiety, and is breaking our ways of organization. Human has been living from firelight for over 300 billion years. So, and out of the blue, we are God, have a sunlight everywhere we go. So that is a problem, serious problem for human well-being in a near future. No? It's more hard for humans to go to sleep. It's more hard for humans to concentrate. We have phones, mobile devices all the time giving us light to us. So it's a lot of things that we not realize how much light is coming to us all the time. And we should be looking for healthy break times of that. So that is the most important part to me. The next part is for the light contamination, we have three types: sky glow, glare, and light transpass. So those are the three. To me, the most wakeful is the sky glow. Why? Because you think you are making a little light here, but light is making a glow around everything and is working against us. So when you see the light pollution from cities, that most of the time is a sky glow. That is because we are not doing a current installation. That light is there giving us extra light that is not going anywhere. Okay. So this is how light glows looks. Okay. And as you can see that in the background, do you see that main stars in the center? That is winter constellation Orion. It has more than 21 stars, and you only can see the 6 major stars. The same thing happened to the Osa Major, that everybody knows as the Big Dipper, because you cannot see the other 21 stars of that constellation. No? So here we have two major differences. Look how far away I have to go to run away from the light of Vegas, and it's still there, 250 miles and 215 miles. I can still see the light glow of Vegas. And this is not only casinos, because a lot of people say, oh, the Luso, yes, it's a nice light and should not be there, but it's only not only casinos. This is street lights. In Earth Day, the casinos turn off for 1 hour the lights, okay? And we cannot notice it. So if we astronomers are missing the sky, we not notice the casino have turned the lights. So I want you to understand is, yes, we have, and I don't mean the casinos are innocent. No, I mean the problem is bigger than we think. It's not just we can point fingers here and there and say, oh, everything is okay. No, we have the 215 that go all around Vegas and the 15 that cross it, full of lights. For what? Who is walking there? All the cars have lights. You don't need that lights. If you need lights in the 215 and the 15 across the city, then you also need it all the way to California, all the way to Arizona. The answer is no. So why we not have that lights there? One thing is you illuminated an exit. You illuminated an important place where is a problem, but hundreds of miles for what reason? None. And all that is coming from our taxpayers. And it is not paying from us individuals, it's paid by corporations. And all that is wasting money everywhere. No? So here you have what happened in a tornado in 2003 in August. The image of the left is what happened during the tornado. The image of the right is when you have light. You see the beautiful Milky Way in the left. Impossible to see one star in the right. Okay. This is what I was talking about, useful lights. who is benefit from that? Propaganda like corporate fast foods, restaurants. We know they are there. We have now Google Map, okay? We don't need to have all that indication. Where is that restaurant? We have Google Maps, okay? So that is all that glare that is coming out of the sky. Another thing is, no, because you have more light, mean you are more safe. The left photo shows one image with a person there, but because the light is so bright, we humans cannot even see the person. If we cover the light, you can see clearly what's a person there. So you not even are more safe because it's more light. You actually are blinding yourself of dangers that are there. That is another important part, because a lot of time when I bring this comment is will not be safe. No, look, here was a person ready to kill you, and you don't even see it. Okay, and it's right there. So that is an important part to keep in mind. That no more light mean you are more safe. Sometimes does not work like that. If the light is not smart installed, you are not doing nothing. Here you have three different types of light trespassing. No, this is a football stadium or a baseball stadium. I don't remember exactly. And look how much light is given to the people around it. So everything is off. You are in the middle of nowhere with everything off. Someone open a stadium and look how much light you have. All that light is mislighting, not pointing to where it should be, and is excessive light. Look the first photo to the left. That looks like it's an explosion going on there. Okay, it's not just light. You can literally think it's a rocket taking to the skies. Okay. The other one is of light trespassing and glare is, do you think the owner of this home is happy with that street light? Do you think he can sleep at night? You need to put special curtains to have a dark room in the house. And it's not helping him at all in any way, the owner of this house. Okay. So that is the other point of putting lights in the wrong places. How is this light benefiting anyone? The answer is no one. Because so in my house, do I need to live in peace? Look what I need to do. Put all blankets in my windows. No? And this is another thing I love. Billboards. Yeah. Lights are all of the lights of the billboards are pointing up because it's easier to change them. It's faster, it's cheaper. So it's a light go off. I paid less time to repair them and put back to work. But yes, I get that. But first of all, why we need billboards at night illuminated when it's less people circulating? That will be one. At 3 o'clock in my way home, I know what to say. Oh, I really was needing to see that ad. Okay, I don't need that. That was one part. Another part is because we want to do it faster, we are putting the lights in the most terrible position. And on top of that, we keep it on even though no one is using the billboard. It's not even a propaganda going on. So these are total ways of showing bad thinking down the road. No. So this is from Satellite City, and each bright light that you see there is a billboard. Okay, so the city is trying to use non-contamination lights. It's not doing a great job, but it's trying. Okay, but you have all these billboards there destroying all the work of the city. So this is another example of bad organization. No, the whole city is coming together. Let's say, let's try, and then come this corporation and say, let's put a lot of billboards to the highway, and you can count it. You can see them. This photo was taken over 10 miles away, and look how bright they look. Okay, so it's things to think about it. No, these are the worst lights that you can find it, and it's the most common. Beautiful round lights everywhere, squares light everywhere. Why we want to put one light when we can put two lights, correct? For the same price. So all this is bad design, bad engineering. Okay. This is another one I really amazing. The street is illuminated, guys. The answer is no. Okay. So what are we illuminating? The building? For what reason? It's a pretty building. It's not even a pretty building. Okay. So there you have it. Another problem. To the left, you have a parking garage with all the lights coming down correct. It's a light wasting, yes, but you see, it's no glare. Okay, it's no so much contamination between one photo and the other. The left one have followed more strict lights rules, and the right just put whatever they want there. And you can see if you need light in the floor, you have it. If you need to see something there, you have it. So it's not a problem of we will remove light, it's just the problem of installing the right lights. Okay. These are light polluted cities here. You can see, if I show you these photos, you will not think it's the middle of the night. It's almost sunset or it's almost sunrise, especially in San Diego or New York City. It's crazy to see that light pollution from one city to another city. Okay, that is how mass pollution is happening from New York City to Portland, for example. Yeah, it's totally wasteless. No reason for it. Okay, Mother Nature plants. This tree is holding on longer than should be, spending more resources and suffering technically to try to be alive because this light of the street is telling him it's still autumn when it's in the middle of winter. So we are changing the cycle of the trees because they don't understand in what season we are because we are over contaminating with light. You can see how he has lost all the fall in one part from the other just because the street light is there. You already, Caroline, have already talked about how different the sky is from one to another. So I go to move on. And these are what Pennsylvania dark sky looks like versus New Jersey skylights versus the suburbs of New Jersey. You only can see one star in downtown. And it's the same sky, it's everything the same. Okay, so what is the big difference? Now, why it's important to see stars? It's not so much about the stars, okay? It's important because human has been looking up to those stars for centuries, but it's not the importance of a star. What this is telling us, we are breaking down humans' night protection. We humans need to sleep. We humans need darkness. We humans need disconnection. And light is not allowing that to happen. And that is the most sad part. Okay? So that lights in the front are cities, again, from Palomar Observatory in California. And you can see how much light is coming up increasingly. Okay? Another terrible way of light, no? Loser is in one of them, yes. And also the Eiffel Tower. Who is at the Eiffel Tower in the middle of the night? None. So why is the Eiffel Tower illuminated? Because the French people want to spend a lot of money. Okay, that's simple. Look how much light is giving to the space, the needle in Seattle. Okay, it's as much light as the Luxor. And I know several pilots that the light from the Luxor or Seattle are used by a sky towers from planes to tell them, do you see that? And you mean you need to keep going. Are pilots that have protests against the light of Luxor because it's affecting landing during the night. We literally are landing, changing the landing of the planes because the light of the Luxor. And why is there? One thing is you want to have a beautiful triangle illuminated. Another thing is you are bringing this crazy light to the sky. And the Luxor have come down, okay? If you notice the light in the Luxor, do you see those lines around the light? That are insects and bats eating each other. It's a free menu of bats just going around all the insects around the light of Luxor. Okay? So what is the difference between sodium lights and LED lights? Do you see the difference? You can actually see the sky. It's the same streets, just illuminated differently, okay? So the light on the left are all the good, less evil lights, let's call it like that, okay? Are lights that are pointing down, are focused, are organized, no? The lights in the right are really the wrong lights to use. So just to keep an idea of what they do. Again, you have here a highway illuminated, but you can see that light is not going up. Okay, if you see the two first photos, light is always coming down. Okay, in the second photo, in the top, you can see light is going everywhere. So for any reason you need that much light in a highway that every car have light on it, okay, at least use the light that are pointing down, that are less sodium, etc. No? Sport facilities illuminated with the right light versus the wrong light. You can totally see the difference. Gas station, those are another big enemy. Gas station, guys. You can imagine how much light those guys put in the sky. Bad lighting, good lighting, okay? And these are good versus bad. You see the first photo, you see the second. The second is doing that glare because have that special glass in the bottom to eliminate, to propose more light in all directions. And that is what you don't want, okay? And to me, the more fun part is you have the last photo into the right is the right type of light, but look how it's pointing up instead of down. Okay, so you are putting the right light, you are doing everything right except the direction. Okay, it's going up. Why? Why is going up? Correct. So that is how lights are working better or wrong. What we can do as humans or as a society, that will be my two biggest reasons. As a society, always ask mayors, senators, constructions, private infrastructure to move to more healthy lights, less illuminated. In the office, we need less powerful lights. Everywhere, we need to bring down what light is doing. Because I am old enough to remember back in the days, we have the incandescent lights that you buy 60 volts or 120 volts. Today we have LED, and everywhere LED is giving more power for less consumption. So you not worry about how much money I got to spend because this LED lamp is giving me 5 volts and it's the same light of 120 volts. So you are saving money. Up to some point, yes, but changing the type of light we are using, not going over 2,400 Kelvin will be more than enough for most of the humans' activity. No? Make sure your lighting in the studios are well coordinated. Make sure all that lighting are there only when it's needed. You can put sensors, you can put LED activation by when it's dark or no. Stuff like that change everything. Avoid landscaping for no reason, okay? Etc. Etc. If you want anything more information, you can go to Dark Skies Association. They are across all United States trying to bring awareness of this problem to everywhere. Okay. So another thing is when the magnitude of the light need to be changed. Okay, for being more um, friendly with everything, no? Not only with human, with life form. We have turtles in the coast that they are going against the sunrise because they think the city is the real sun. So when you look in the animal world, you can see so many mistakes or problems we are having because humans contamination. Okay, and transparency and ceiling, both typically scale from 1 to 5. That will be the most important part to have in mind. And you want the most big number possible there, okay? And instead of the other one that was the smallest. And that will be all for me. And
Thank you for that.
Awesome. Mhm. Thank you for sharing your information with us.
We'll hand it over to Constance to close us out.
Awesome.
Eric,
Alright.
Eric, if you want to present our slide. And we'll open the floor to any questions or comments after Constance's part. So keep those questions in mind or any discussion points. All right.
Alrighty, so I will be closing us out for the last about 10-15 minutes. I'm just going to go over how does light pollution affect us and the environment, and also what is the government really doing about light pollution in Nevada. And before we get into it, according to one research article, more than 80% of the world and more than 99% of the US and European populations live under light polluted skies, which is pretty sad. So how does light pollution affect us? So light pollution really affects our neuroendocrine systems and our circadian rhythms. What are those? The neuroendocrine system is a biological system that creates and releases important chemicals in our bodies that just keep us functioning and running. And one of those chemicals is melatonin. What is a circadian rhythm? Basically, it's just the natural cycles that our body goes through. Specifically in relation to light pollution, it's the sleep and wake cycles. The chemical I was talking about earlier, melatonin, is a naturally occurring hormone our bodies produce in the absence of light. And it's really just responsible for making us feel sleepy and getting us to sleep. And surprisingly, it has antioxidant properties in addition to inducing sleep. It boosts our immune system, lowers cholesterol, and helps functioning of the thyroid, pancreas, ovaries, testes, and adrenal glands. And so the lack of melatonin and the disruption with our neuroendocrine system and circadian rhythms is ultimately linked to, surprisingly, several physical abnormalities. That includes breast cancer, so watch out, and obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and on the mental side of things, it's linked to depression, mood disorders, and of course, insomnia. If anybody ever works the night shift, or has the option to over the day shift, I would really opt to work the day shift. And so I just included a little YouTube video at the end of this slide and on what can we do on an individual level to reduce health effects. And it's also a little study about the circadian rhythm. And Eric, if you want to click that. Eric, I can't hear the sound. I still can't hear the sound, but Eric, if you want to pause it, I can explain it real quick. Basically, in the study that they did in this video by the International Dark Skies Association, they took a group of campers and they just basically let them loose in the wild. And ultimately, they found that their circadian rhythm was off quite a bit, and that people who naturally stayed up later in the night tended to shift more. Oh, did you get the sound to work?
I think so, yes. Hold on. You want me to play it?
Yes. No. Okay. So Eric, I can still not hear it. It's all good. But yeah, they just found that there was a major shift in the circadian rhythm in people's sleep and wake cycles. All right, and so effects on nature. We are the Environmental Council. So there were some effects related to migration of birds specifically. Light pollution can affect birds' migrations, and it may cause them to migrate a little bit too early or a little bit too late, missing ideal climate conditions for nesting, foraging, and other behaviors. In Las Vegas specifically, we are in the position of the Pacific Flyway, which in the fall and in the spring, birds fly from north-south, south to north. And some of these migrating birds that visit here that you might have seen in Sunset Park or the wetlands include Canadian geese, ringneck ducks, and American widgeons, which kind of look like ducks. And so light pollution affects also breeding practices. Some amphibians rely on the darkness to cue mating. And so in Las Vegas, some amphibians that we have are bullfrogs and Woodhouse's toads. Specifically, if you've ever visited the Wetlands Park, you can find them there in the aquatic ecosystems. And so the effects of light pollution also affect the balance of predator and prey behavior. Because there's just so much light pollution, prey naturally go for dark locations to hide. But sometimes they're drawn to light, like in the case of insects, we saw with the Luxor, with Francisco's presentation, there were just so many bugs drawn toward the light, and so they were easily preyed on. And unfortunately, light pollution has been linked to a drastic global insect population loss, and that's like the basis of many circles of life and ultimately us. In addition to that, the night sky global light pollution has been increasing by a rate of about 2% a year in a lot of places that haven't seen light pollution before. Light pollution also affects bird collisions. Millions of birds die a year through collisions with buildings due to light pollution. Just the other day, I was sitting at my other job and I heard a thump and I saw a group of birds and I was like, oh, well, another one bites the dust. But it's estimated that for every one building, 1 to 10 birds die. And plants have kind of like their own circadian rhythm when it comes to growing. And, a myth is that plants grow kind of in a steady rhythm day and night. But the fact is that a lot of plants rely on the darkness to have growth spurts. And there's also a video here, but for time reasons, we will skip it. And it basically just says what Francisco says about billboards and having downwards lights and what we can do to help with that. Next slide, please.
Sorry, looks like I got stuck again.
It's all good. And okay, you can go back a little.
More?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And no, the other one was.
Sorry.
It's okay. So what is Nevada doing about light pollution? Recently, in early 2021, they signed a bill into law called the Senate Bill 52. And the background for that bill was in conjunction with, because Nevada is home to 2 designated international dark sky sanctuaries. And this was designated by the International Dark Skies Association, and these locations are in the Great Basin National Park in the Massacre Rim. And there's only 7 of these in the world, so we're lucky enough to have 2 of those locations. And as you can tell from the map, Nevada is actually probably one of the darkest states, so it's very important that, even though we're the cities of lights, that we keep the rest of Nevada light pollution free. And the bill allows voluntary and locally led dark sky designation programs, which they help with protecting and bringing tourist recognition to Nevada's dark skies and for promoting dark skies ecological, astronomical, cultural, and economic value. So ultimately, little towns and communities can apply to be a dark sky designation program not affiliated with the International Dark Skies Association, but with the government of Nevada, just to boost tourism and ultimately boost kind of like mindfulness for light pollution and practices of energy efficiency. But like I said, unfortunately, this bill does not protect against the actual development and growth of light pollution. Next slide, please. And before we get to the questions and comments, I would like to leave y'all with this little picture. I think Francisco's pictures did a little bit more justice, but this is an image that was taken at Death Valley in between Las Vegas and Los Angeles. And as you can see, light pollution can be seen even from very far. So, yeah. Any questions, comments?
I remember when I was like touring different colleges, NAU was my second choice next to UNLV. So I really liked that. In Flagstaff, they have all the lamps pointing down the way we want our street lamps to be facing. So you're able to see the skies. And it's like so pretty. And they Flagstaff has an observatory too. So I think that really helped that astrology research out there too. But I remember I was like, that's really cool. I never really thought about how important that would be, or like how drastic the effect would be compared to like growing up in Las Vegas and like there's just so much light pollution versus visiting Flagstaff for a weekend and all the street lamps are pointing down. I'm like, oh, that's so smart, and it's so easy. Or like, I don't know why we do that why we don't do that in the first place.
I have a question for Francisco. So I think what are most of the efforts to like reduce light pollution? Basically, are they are there like cities that are like examples of like what's proper lighting? Like what can be done? I guess besides like, are we gonna have to advocate like at a local level to like better lighting? I guess. How does like what exactly can we do, or like what are examples that we can point towards for like better light?
So that is a very complicated question.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine how many levels you need to go in so many different areas to do something. No? For example, if you are talking about the interstate lights in a highway, you literally need to move to the federal government and talk to, for example, all the states that are using that interstate. So yeah, good luck. If you go to more down, like the 93 or the 95 here in Nevada, you need to talk to several counties and cities that lights go through. And if you look talking to something more local, like a city, that city have a mayor and that city have areas. Let's not go further than Las Vegas. It's not Las Vegas Strip is totally separated from Las Vegas, and North Vegas is totally separated from Summerlin, even though more or less everything's in the same area. And a lot of people that visit Las Vegas has visited that valley of Las Vegas, not the city of Las Vegas, because the strip is not in the city of Las Vegas, it's in the valley. So all those definitions are very tricky to work around. In my experience, is I'm yourself with a lot of passion and not let this die. And I advocate for and look for resources. More of anything, make people aware, especially people in power, like politicians, senators, governors, mayors. Those are the most important one because they have the will, they can push it. Now, going further, the city of Boulder City is making a huge change in lights to go to LED, no? And it's right here. Have they picked up the right LED light? No. Are they doing a good effort? Yes. But have they picked up the right light? No. that light have too much blue in the white light, and then it's doing exactly the same as the other ones, even though you are changing. So those are things, no? Who will be, to me, the people that need to be more concerned about this, or should be the more advocate, should be the electric companies. I will not give you electricity if you not complying with these minimum standards of safety. Let's call it life safety. No? That will be the most easy way to approach the problem, because you have an external organization that is looking into a problem individually, that is touched by too many people. It will work. Maybe yes, maybe no. But this is my question. No, if you are in NV energy, you want your customers to spend less in light? It's a bad business. So to me, even if they are happy to help saving life here and there, it's a limit of how much they want you to spend, because that infrastructure costs money to keep. For the electricity to arrive to your home, you are losing in the power grid electricity just by heat, and it's natural. So I say it's a really big problem. Then to me, the most important focus is anything that is construct new or renew should be already focusing in light pollution, and everything that is already old, we should build some kind of process to update it to a better system. That would
Thank
be
you.
my point of view.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Oh, Eric, you closed our presentation. We had stuff to talk about. Yeah, thank you for your input, Francisco. Yeah, it's a lot more difficult than it seems, huh? Ugh.
Yeah, so we have a few upcoming events at UNLVolunteers on the 8th. So tomorrow we have Dash from 2:15 to 6:15 p.m. Not sure how many shifts are available, but if you want to go on Give Pulse in the Involvement Center and you just want to sign up, that would be awesome. We also have Service Day coming up on the 15th, and that's from 7 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And there's a whole variety of interesting and really engaging volunteer options, like the Animal Foundation, Lake Mead. There's some that have to do with like books and restoration. And hey, there's free food and a free t-shirt. So, I mean, free food. There's also Dash on the 22nd from 2:15 to 6:15. Again, not sure how many positions are open, but there's one for making sandwiches and one for delivering the food. And then finally, there's LV Green Up, and that's on the 23rd from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And that's hosted by us, the Environmental Council. And yeah, just come with us, plant some native plants along the Las Vegas Wash, and I'm sure we'll have some snacks as well. But yeah, get updates through our Instagram page and sign up through the Involvement Center. Mm-hmm.
Is there more slides or?
It's just a thanks for coming. Yeah. But yeah, thank you everyone for attending. Thank you to our guest speaker for coming out and speaking with us and telling us more about light pollution and all that is involved with it. Crazy stuff. Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
And that concludes our presentation.
Thank you, Francisco. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Constance. That was great.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming. And then, all right, cool.